Yeah, I wonder if you could talk just a little bit about like dealing with people playing your stuff on Ultraviolence when maybe they shouldn't, and sort of managing player expectations in that regard.
Well, I think I'm more at fault for changing sort of what I used Ultraviolence for. Um, so, in putting together pretty tight encounters, I typically balance them until I find them enjoyable to go through casually or otherwise. But there's still, you see the geometry of the space, and possibilities will jump into your mind of, wouldn't it be interesting if instead, you couldn't use this area because there's arch files there instead, and so you'll experiment with some harder variations of the fight, and in playing them, it's like they're conceptually interesting, but less fun than
Right.
than the other version. But I still want to have the cake and eat it too. I guess I want to have that bonus mode be included somehow, in addition to whatever the intended experience is. In this case, the Hurt Me Plenty difficulty. And so the question then is, what do you do with that? Do you put it in Ultraviolence and then throw in lots of caveats about, hey, I really, Hurt Me Plenty is how I intended for this to be played, and this is sort of a bonus mode? Do you put it in Skill 2, like Slaughtermax did that, right? Or what project was it?
Yeah, Slaughtermax.
So do you hide it in Skill 2? But then then you're just sort of undermining people who actually would use the difficulty settings properly, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
if they loaded up Hurt Me Plenty and then thought it was too hard, so they go down to Hey Not Too Rough, and it just gets worse. Another thing you could do is hide it in SoloNet, to co-op only monsters, but then that has its own can of worms where each port sort of handles multiplayer stuff differently. Like you can't pick up weapons for ammo, and then respawning might break the entire map because something that you needed to wake up monsters in the closets is no longer open. And so there really was no perfect solution. So for 2067, I went the route of putting lots of disclaimers in the text file and some all caps things saying, hey, Hurt Me Plenty is the intended difficulty, whatever that means. And Magnolia got a little bit more obnoxious, I guess, where it just kind of removed the option entirely. But that was also because Ultraviolence just kept it was even the gap between Ultraviolence and Hurt Me Plenty in Magnolia was even larger than that in 20XC7.
Right.
To the point where I just thought about, I don't know, just binning it entirely, keeping it on a personal copy of it, whatever. Because it is, I think, I'm not going to use the word, maybe I won't. It's like an objectively worse experience, I think, to play through Magnolia on Ultraviolence. It has lots of fights setups that I think are interesting in how precise they are, or how exacting some of them are, but it's definitely not what I enjoyed the most. So yeah, it was essentially trying to solve that problem of, I have this conceptually interesting setup. It would be cool if I could include it. I don't know what the best mechanism for including it is, and yeah, experimenting with putting it in Ultraviolence or excluding it entirely. I do regret the decision for Magnolia, I guess, because it ended up sort of subsuming the conversations about the maps themselves, I guess, where it became more of the focus, which granted it was obnoxious to say, instead of
I didn't think of it as obnoxious.
Yeah, but you're more sympathetic than the average player, I think. Where you gotta jump through some extra hoops to get the bonus hard mode, and a situation that I guess I made worse by having the map 31s there as well, which were initially meant as just like a small gesture of gratitude for jumping through the hoops. But obviously when you have maps that aren't public, they now become, the feeling of people missing out on something is even higher, so you're gonna catch flack for that. So yeah, if I were to do something like that, definitely wouldn't do something like that again. And another thing I probably wouldn't do is I probably wouldn't make it publicly, not any public knowledge that the map 31s even exist.
Right, yeah.
Because I think I put them in, I listed the first 5 of them in the text file, so I guess it creates the impression that there's something to be missed out on, and that I'm being an asshole by hoarding these maps for no particular reason. But that was not the intention.